So today we're going to be grooming a doodle. He is a very sweet boy. I've been grooming him since he was a baby. And he gets a pretty short haircut, but because he goes for a lot of walks, he always comes in pretty dirty. Just dirty enough that I don't pre-clip him. So I always start by getting him wet, and then I use the Kerfluffle shampoo and get him really clean. And he's such a stoic guy. He's so cute. And then, of course, you have to make sure you get underneath the tail there. And then after a quick condition, I start toweling him off. I use the Absorber brand chamois because I find they last a lot longer than off-brand, and they absorb a lot of water. Then I use the Happy Heady, which I wiggle onto his head. And when I pull them forward onto the head, I then pull them kind of back so that it doesn't pull on their eyes. And then I start the blow dry, which takes quite a while for this fella. He's got a very thick coat. And you can see he has certain areas that are a little bit more itchy. He likes to lean into the dryer. He's a very sweet boy. He is sitting on 2 hospital pads, and I like to use those because they help kind of absorb the water, but they don't let it through onto my anti-fatigue mat that the dogs stand on. So it just kind of helps improve dry time because they're not standing in like a puddle of water, and it's not soaking into the mat that they're going to be standing on later. I almost exclusively use the flat nozzle or no nozzle. I just find it stretches the hair a little bit better and it works better for me. It's personal preference, but... And then I start brushing him out. So I'm just using my very close together slicker brush. This is the Artero, and it's the medium pins just because he's a little bit shorter haired right now. And I just brush his super curly areas that don't always come super straight with the blow dryer. I'm brushing the entire dog, but I focus on the areas that are very curly. And then this is what he looks like, all fluffed out and ready to go. So he's ready for clippers. He's kind of a lazy dude. I love him. So I'm just doing his sanitary area like this, which works for us. I don't personally use belly bands because I don't like forcing a dog to stand by using their weight against them. And then I start clipping his body. He is a 5-blade. I'm using the wide 5-blade by... This is either an Andis one or a Fur Zone one, I'm not sure. And you can see there's a couple of areas that the clippers kind of jumped a little bit. You want to pull the skin flat like I'm doing there to kind of prevent that. Just so you don't accidentally cause an area that's shorter than it should be. But basically, I'm doing like what I can while he's comfortable, which he is very comfortable. He's falling asleep at this point. He's such a sweet boy. So I'm going to the back of the occiput, which is the bump on the back of the head. I'm doing the entire body and the legs. He's kind of a sporty guy. He does a lot of stuff, so he doesn't need a super long haircut. And I also do his ears. We only did this once, and now we've just kept doing it because I think it's just easier for the owners. He used to have long ears, but now they're a little bit shorter. And then see how one leg is kind of hanging off the one side of the table and the other I have in my hand? I want to make sure I don't stretch his joints in a weird way. And now I'm going to ask him to either turn around or stand, whichever he's comfortable with. And he says, I'm just going to turn a little. So again, pulling that skin so I don't bump the clippers against him. Clippers I'm using are the Wall KM cordless. These are amazing clippers. I'm not sponsored by Wall. I don't have a coupon code for you. I'm just saying what is true. These are awesome clippers. I've only had to replace the battery once, and I think I had the first pair that was legally sold in Canada, so they have lasted a long time. And you can see how his skin was twitching there? It's because I hit an itchy area. That's okay. So I'm going to ask him to stand and start clipping the neck. I go from the cheekbones, or I guess the jawbone back, because we're going to save the rest for the facial hair. And you can see he does have like kind of a patch shave there. He had surgery to remove a lump, so he kind of has a hunk taken out of the side of his face. That wasn't me. And then anything that I missed while he was laying down, I'm going to trim all that off. He does change color quite significantly in some areas. He's brighter gold and then kind of a duller gold underneath. And he has a very, very thick coat. So you can see there's like kind of lines that my clipper has left. That's totally fine. You can just go over it a couple of times or scissor it later. My blades are sharp, which is normally the culprit for that. It's just because he has very thick coat. That's why that happened. So yeah, I use my fingers to push out that skin between the tendon and the bone so that I get a nice even clip. And then I do the same for the other side. And that way I can get all the hair, once I move his tail, that way I can get all the hair out of the way. Careful doing that. Make sure you're not shoving your blade into that tendon. It's a very easy area to cut. And then the front leg, get all his hair off. He's such a good dog. And then up into that belly. And he wants to lay down again, which is fine. But I am going to see if I can get him to stand just so I can finish up the rest of his groom. And he says, "No, I want to lay down. Please." Sweet boy. All right, once I convinced him to stand up, I think I've already done the paw pads at this point and his nails. So now, and now some groomers only do this with teddy bear cuts. I do this with all cuts, doesn't matter the length. I go over with a comb and trim off anything that's sticking out. Beware the tongue. Very easy to scissor his tongue. And I did get that little fuzz there. But yeah, you can see how one side of the face has like kind of a shorter area from the vet clip, which is okay. But yeah, this guy gets a very low maintenance trim. Very nice trim. This is basically a 5 all over with a squirrel tail. And this is a squirrel tail. Kind of a longer version of a squirrel tail, now that I say that. Giving the tail a little bit of a shake helps the hair kind of settle down a little bit. And then just scissoring off any areas that stick out. But this is him all finished, all ready to go home. Isn't he handsome? He's so cute. So I want to say this trim took me about 2.5 to 3 hours. And honestly, a lot of that is because the blow dry time takes so long, but he's such a good dog. And this is a good low maintenance trim, which is again the 5 blade with the 1/2 inch head.